There comes a stage in every creator's journey where everything feels like it's either accelerating or collapsing, and the difference between the two is almost invisible at first, because on the surface, you're still uploading, still creating, still pushing forward, but internally, something has changed. You are no longer guessing, you are no longer blindly experimenting. You are beginning to see patterns, to recognize what works, and more importantly, to understand why it works. And that understanding is what separates casual creators from strategic ones, because strategy transforms randomness into direction. At this point, you start treating your channel less like a place to upload videos and more like a system that needs optimization, where every element, your title, your thumbnail, your first 10 seconds, your pacing, your storytelling, is part of a larger equation. And if even one element is weak, the entire performance suffers. And this realization changes how you approach everything. Because now, you're not just making content, you're engineering experiences designed to hold attention. You begin to study your audience more deeply, not just who they are, but how they behave, what they click on, what they ignore, when they leave, when they stay, and this data becomes your guide, because your audience is constantly giving you feedback, silently but clearly, through their actions, and if you learn to listen to that feedback, you gain an advantage that most creators never develop, the ability to adapt in real time. The algorithm, often misunderstood as some mysterious force, is actually a reflection of audience behavior. And once you understand this, your entire perspective shifts, because now you realize that the goal is not to beat the algorithm, but to align with it, to create content that naturally encourages people to watch longer, engage more, and return again. And when you achieve that alignment, your videos begin to get pushed, not because of luck, but because of performance. As you refine your content, you start focusing on retention. How long people watch, where they drop off, what keeps them engaged, and this becomes one of your most important metrics. Because watch time is not just a number, it's a signal that tells the system your content is worth promoting. And improving this signal requires precision, because every second matters, every transition matters, every moment either builds interest or loses it. This is where storytelling becomes your secret weapon, because a well-told story can hold attention in a way that pure information cannot. And the reason is simple. Stories create emotional investment, they build curiosity, they create tension and release, and they guide the viewer through a journey that feels natural and engaging. And when people are emotionally invested, they are far more likely to stay, to watch, and to interact. But mastering storytelling is not just about adding drama. It's about structure, pacing, and clarity, knowing when to introduce an idea, when to expand it, and when to resolve it. Because if everything is revealed too early, the viewer loses interest, and if nothing is revealed, they feel confused. And the balance between these two is where true engagement is built. And this balance is something you develop over time through practice and observation. At the same time, you begin experimenting more boldly, trying different styles, formats, and approaches, because growth does not come from repetition alone. It comes from evolution, from pushing your boundaries, from testing new ideas. And sometimes those ideas will fail, but those failures are not wasted. They are stepping stones, each one bringing you closer to understanding what truly resonates with your audience. And as you continue, something subtle but important starts to happen. Your confidence begins to grow, not in an arrogant way, but in a grounded, earned way. Because now you have evidence, you have results, you have experience, and that experience builds trust within yourself, and that self-trust becomes the foundation of your creative decisions, allowing you to create with more clarity and less hesitation. However, this stage also brings new challenges because as your channel grows, so do expectations, both from your audience and from yourself, and this pressure can be overwhelming if you let it control you, but it can also be motivating if you learn to channel it properly. Because pressure, when managed correctly, can sharpen your focus, improve your discipline, and push you to reach higher standards. Behind the scenes, the process remains the same. Research, creation, editing, analysis, repetition. But your mindset has changed, your approach has matured, and your understanding has deepened. And now you are no longer just reacting to results. You are anticipating them, adjusting before problems arise, and building a system that supports consistent growth. And perhaps the most important realization at this stage is this: viral success is not a destination. It is a byproduct of doing the right things consistently over time. And once you understand that, your entire approach shifts from chasing results to building systems, from hoping for success to designing it. And that shift is what separates those who occasionally succeed from those who continuously grow. So as you stand here, in the middle of your journey, with more clarity than before, but still far from the final goal, you begin to see the bigger picture, that this isn't just about creating videos or gaining views, it's about mastering a process, developing discipline, and building something that can grow beyond you. And that realization becomes your anchor, keeping you grounded as you move forward into the next phase of your journey.